12 days of Soapmas. Merry Christmas. We are making another gingerbread soap house, and I have to say, out of all the gingerbread soap houses we've made so far, this one is my absolute favorite. There is frosting this year, there are embeds this year, and the soap, of course, smells like gingerbread. So let's go ahead and make some soap. Let's get started by building the actual gingerbread part of the house. So we'll do this in 3 days. First, today we will make the gingerbread pieces. Then tomorrow we will decorate the gingerbread pieces. And then on day 3 we will decorate more and assemble. So for this particular gingerbread house, I'm going to be using some brown oxide, not dark brown oxide, just brown oxide. And I'm going to add about this much. So that's going to help stabilize the color that the gingerbread fragrance oil we're using today, which is Gingerbread Cookie by Brambleberry, is going to cause in our batter. So it's definitely going to turn brown, and us adding that little bit of color in is just going to help it along the way and make it look a little more even. I'm also adding a little bit of Poppycock by Mad Micah's. I'm also going to add some Sparkle Me Gold, which will just add some gold flecks to the entire batch, and that will show up in the final product. So it's a fun addition for sure. Now I am going to measure in my fragrance oil because everything is going to be 1 scent and 1 color. It smells phenomenal. And then I'm going to blend this up with my stick blender and add the lye water solution. Now when I do that, everything's going to start moving very fast. So I'm going to blend the minimal amount of time, then I'll start pouring into my molds. And another thing that I've done for this is I have increased the temperature. Normally, you guys know I like to work at room temperature, but because I want these soaps to optimally go through gel phase, if possible, I've increased it so that each piece, when unmolded, will be not only easy to get out of our silicone mold here, but also super, super easy to decorate. Look how beautiful. I'm gonna zoom you in so you can see just how pretty that is. Those gold sparkles and flecks in that batter is just stunning. Okay, let's go ahead and add our little bit of lye water solution here, and we will blend up for 10-15 seconds. We'll see how long it needs. And now, very quickly, we're going to start pouring into our molds. So I'm going to pour into the parts that have the most detail in them first to make sure that we don't have any windows that look chipped. That would be bad. And I get a lot of questions about where I actually got these silicone molds from. Just from Amazon. There's lots of different types, but I really like this one because it comes with a door. Just gonna tap that down, get any air bubbles out if there are any. And anything that pops up on the side is no big deal because I always clean these up afterwards. Okay, let's get that door done. Okay, so now that I have filled up all the areas that I want filled, I am going to remove like some of the excess because some of these things will be harder to assemble if they're not like a little more level. You can see I definitely over poured with this one right here. Better to pour in too much and have to scrape some off than not pour enough. I can tell you that. This is going to be kind of a finicky business and it's not very fun to watch. So I'll bring you guys back after I have finished. Okay, so after spending 5 minutes or so kind of cleaning everything up, you can see where I've landed. Now, there are certain soaps that I purposefully left a bit messy, namely these two, because these are going to help support these. So they need to be thicker on the edges, but also this mold is a little bit flimsy and I kind of remember this causing trouble last time. So I built it up in the corners to make sure that wouldn't be an issue again, but it looks a little messy in the mold, admittedly. And then I'm just going around and making sure that I don't have any soap on my cookie sheet because these are made of aluminum. So if there are any places where there's caustic batter, it will eventually kind of eat away at it. So we'd like to try to avoid that if possible. So now at this point, I'm going to place these on some towels because I want all of this heat to stay as insulated as possible. I might even put a piece of saran on the top and another towel on top just to sort of, again, insulate them a bit more and make sure they're nice and cozy so that they will go through gel phase and get nice and hard and they won't be crumbly. Gently does it, gently. Everything I'm touching with the saran wrap is going to be on the inside. So it actually doesn't matter if it has kind of like a wonky appearance. We'll wrap it up and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay guys, I have let these sit for maybe 3 or 4 days. I did come back and check them after 24 hours. They were still a little sticky, but were already much harder than last year. If you didn't know, I didn't actually ever end up completing this project for last year. I had 2 failed batches and it was just too much. 2020 was rough, okay? But this year, after having let this sit for 3 or 4 days, it really is looking like a nice batch of soap. That smell is so divine. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pop out the pieces, and I'm gonna do so very gently so that we don't break anything. There have been a couple of years where I've accidentally broken something because I was trying to move too fast. Well, we do not want to do that this year. So just going to put this off to the side. The windows look good, which is honestly kind of a miracle because normally somebody has a hole in it somewhere. Yeah, see here? Little teeny tiny divots. Now, good for me. I'm actually going to be piping those windows, so you won't end up seeing that. Here's the roof. This roof. Awesome. Go wash this. All right, let's pop out the door. That's one of my favorite parts. Oh, these windows, this is the back and our front. So I have to be very careful with this one. Now, for this year, I have actually decided to make pink frosting. So I'm going to be using Cosmic Carolyn and a little bit of titanium dioxide. But before I do that, I'm going to spritz everything in Sparkle Me Gold and a little bit of Sparkle Plenty. There's already some Sparkle Me Gold in the soap. This is just going to add a little bit more glitz and glam. Honestly, I might be covering the top of this particular soap with some white or pink frosting, but I'm going to go ahead and spritz everything with gold anyway, just for the sake of uniformity in case I decide not to do that. And if you're going to be covering everything in like a shimmer, it's good to do it while the soap is still kind of sticky because it'll stay a little bit better. So this is what it looks like now. And I'm not afraid to like touch it. It might remove some of the glitter at first, but I can always put a little bit more back on. So not a big deal at all. So most of the top I'm not going to do today. So I'm going to move those off to the side very gently. We're mainly going to focus on the sides and the back of the house. So I'm going to be moving these around as I work on them. Okay, so I have my soap frosting here and it's still a little bit runny. And I did this on purpose because I want to, I guess, fill in the windows in such a way that it doesn't look too chunky, which has been a problem I've had in the past. I just feel like if I work with a frosting that's a little bit thinner, it'll spread a little bit more, which is kind of how it is if you like decorate cookies or something. Okay, so that took a while. Now what I'm going to do is put some sprinkles on top of all the little windows. This would be much, much easier with some tweezers, but because I don't have those, we're gonna do the best we can. I have now changed piping tips to an 𝐒𝐭 3-2 tip, so it's like a teeny tiny little open star. And I'm gonna start by just piping little dollops underneath these windows here. About 3 will do. And now I'm going back in with my 𝐒𝐿𝐼𝐼 6-tip. And all of this is about to be music because it's gonna take me a while. After I have piped everything, this is what it looks like. I'm thrilled to death. Now, obviously, this took quite some time, and I do have to let it sit for 24 hours before I can assemble it tomorrow. So after about an hour of it sitting here, I'm gonna come and press like very gently. You can see these have already been sitting here quite some time, so I can do it now on all of the piped pieces. That way, as it cures, nothing comes up or falls off. I definitely want to make sure that everything stays in place and that none of the little dots or anything peel off, because that has been something that has happened in the past. All right, I'll see you guys tomorrow so we can assemble it and add all the frosting on top. Many days have passed and my soap gingerbread pieces are actually quite a bit more cured than they were before. Now, this is kind of good and bad. Sometimes whenever soap that is thinner, like these bars are, sits and cures, it dents or it raises up the edges or something goes a little concave, which is what's happening right here. It doesn't always cure or release moisture evenly. So I don't have the perfect pliable pieces that I did before. However, this is a lot more accurate to how this soap is going to look even a year from now. So assembling it at this point, I feel like is a better idea. The first thing I'm gonna start with, so I have some clear melt and pour here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is actually add it to the bottom right here, just like this, like glue. And then I'm gonna place it on this board. So I'm gonna place it right here. Well, maybe right here, because that looks a little better. And I just found that melt and pour soap to combine these pieces works so much better. And now I'm going to place a little bit of melt and pour down the side of this front. Now it's still very wobbly, so I'm having to be careful. So you just put a little bit down the side here. Does not have to be perfect. We're just trying to get all the pieces to stick together a little bit, and then there will be some room for adjusting a bit later. All right, I have my two sides up now, which is super great. And I'm just gonna continue to assemble just as I have right here. This is all just gonna be music, I think, because it's just gonna take a while for me to assemble everything. All right, so now that I have all the walls up, which I can tell you was extremely nerve-wracking, I'm just gonna seal up the cracks on the inside just to add some extra stability. I would rather do more than less on this part because it's not perfect. It's just so much better to reinforce every single part that you can on the inside because you're not gonna see it anyway. Okay, I think I have reinforced everything as best I can. You can see when I move the top, it's still a little bit wiggly, but the rest of it is just fine. So now time for the roof. I'm so nervous. This happens every year. Every time it comes time to do the roof, I always just get so nervous. Okay, let's do this side first. I'm gonna make sure, put a lot of glue on there. And stick it on really fast. It hath been assembled. Now, I was really worried, guys, that if I didn't put you at this angle, you wouldn't be able to see me actually doing the piping. So I brought you down a little bit closer, and hopefully this will help you kind of see what I'm doing here. So the first thing I'm doing is going along this edge so that we can kind of clean it up, make it look a little prettier. It just won't look so cobbled together this way. Yeah, see, even that, just that right there, so much better. Also gonna do right up here at the top, right next to all these little dots. You can probably also see that I'm using this like as a glue, obviously, but that the pink is a little bit darker than the other pink I was using, and I did do this on purpose. I just thought it would look better to have like two different tones of pink, you know? Awesome. Look at that in the front. We're big fans. Okay, now I have piped underneath the roof, you see right here, so that hopefully nothing slips down. That's the major goal, is for nothing to slip down. Okay, and now for the roof. Now, I think what I'm gonna do is mound it up a little more than usual. I want it to look like super swirly, almost like, I don't know, some sort of a candy something. So I'm gonna put some big dollops of icing on top. So now let's add some frosting along the edge here. This is kind of similar to what we did last year, or the year before. I guess I didn't actually make one last year. Okay, so at this point, we've gone all the way around with the frosting, which, you know, it just really pulls things together. It makes it look so much more complete, but I want to try to do what I did in 2019, which was to make some icicles off the sides. That was the hardest part of doing the frosting, but I really think it's going to pull it together. And now that I have basically everything done as far as the frosting is concerned on this side, I'm just going to take a tiny little dollop of frosting on this embed that we have left over, and I'm just going to place that right here. So I'm going to cover the entire roof in these little snowflake embeds. We use these in our Winter Wonderland soap, and we had some left over, and I felt like it would just be the absolutely most perfect little embed to add to this soap. It kind of goes in with the pinky pastel colors, and it just matches and just kind of adds a little bit more to it. All right, so I've put on some of the finishing details, just a little border around the bottom. I'll clean up the bottom of the cardboard that I have it on, and I'll, you know, add something pretty like sparkles. So now I'm just going to add a few little soap gumballs on top because I think that'll be a pleasant addition to this color scheme and kind of just tie it all together. Perfect. Just like that. And then tomorrow we'll go ahead and glue in the door. And right now I think would be a good time actually to add some glitter on top. So we'll start by putting a little bit of Sparkle Plenty on the top just to get it good and sparkly. I'm also going to put this on the piping that we just added just to sort of highlight all of the little grooves. This is going to make the whole entire soap look a little bit frosty, which is awesome. All right, a little bit of hollow eco-friendly glitter here. All right, and now that all the glitter is on, I'm just going to spritz this with a little bit of rubbing alcohol. I don't need that much. We'll just come back and attach our little door. I added the door in the next day, and here it is, guys, the 2021 gingerbread house. I am so pleased. I'm absolutely loving the pink. I think the snowflakes on top look amazing, and all of that glitter just pulls it together. I love it to death. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, be sure to give it a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment down below if you would like to see me make more architecture out of soap. Any other videos in 2021 are definitely going to be bonus videos. This is normally where our video production ends, and so I will see all of your fabulous faces in January of 2022. What an absolutely amazing and wild ride Royalty Soaps has been on this year. It was our 10th anniversary of being in business. We did the most sales we've ever done for Christmas time. The whole year has just been absolutely insane. I want to thank you personally, of course, real quick here at the end of the year. I won't waste your time. It's literally Christmas Day. If you're watching this on Christmas Day, you're a real MVP because there's so much to do. But without going into long orations, thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting me, my small business, our employees, and my family members. It means the world to us. We have so many amazing things coming up. I am actually going to be taking just 1 week off this year, and the rest of the time I'm going to be using to work on some of the new things launching in Q1 and Q2. One of the things has been almost 2 years in the making. Lots of research and development. Lots of me just getting my hands dirty trying to figure stuff out. It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait to share it with you. Happy New Year. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I'll see you guys in 2022. Be sure you do something fun for yourself today. Spend it with people that you love. Buy presents, open presents, drink festive drinks. Just have a great time. I'll see you guys in 2022. Bye for now. Yeah.